So first, I just want to introduce myself. I know Bill gave a little bit of background, but I started my career in construction management. I was a project manager. My first project was Hudson Yards, which is the largest private development in the history of the US, so they really kind of just threw me in the deep end there. I managed the enclosures for one of the buildings, so storefronts, curtain wall, roofing. After Hudson Yards, I moved to JP Morgan's corporate headquarters in Midtown, so it's a couple blocks north of Grand Central, active train tracks running underneath the project for the duration of the job. I managed the foundation there, and we were demolishing a 52-story building on top of these active train tracks. And that picture in the bottom left there is this was a couple months ago now, but the steel erection for the lobby. The logistics were just incredibly complex, and if you're in Manhattan, I definitely recommend checking it out next time you're there. It's on 48th and Park. So why am I standing in front of all of you guys today? During this time in construction, I realized how difficult it is for contractors to get paid. And it seems to get more and more difficult every year. There's new billing requirements, new paperwork that you need to submit. And there's Excel spreadsheets flying everywhere, paper checks, and there's really no tools built for the trades to manage this process. There's tools for general contractors, tools for developers, but there's nothing for the trades. So I quit my job 2 years ago, a couple weeks before the pandemic. Everyone on my team in New York thought I was absolutely insane. They all made pools of when I would be coming back to the project. But I moved to San Francisco to start this company with our founders because cash flow is really the lifeline of any contractor's business. So we started the company to empower contractors to grow their business. So I have an old school poll. Can you raise your hand here if cash flow causes stress for your business right now? Okay, it's kind of hard to see, but I see a bunch of hands up there. That doesn't surprise me. So raise your hand if you're a contractor in here. Okay, I should see a lot of hands. Keep your hand raised if it takes longer than 30 days for you guys to get paid. Okay, how about 45, 60, 75? Okay, I'm seeing some shaking. So the average in the industry is actually 83 days to get paid, which is truly insane when you think about it. So for some of you that kept your hand up longer than 60, do I have any brave souls that want to jump in front of a mic and give maybe one of those reasons that your payment was put on hold? Say you're looking at your aging report, it's at 70 days, you call the GC to figure out why. Okay, I don't see anyone jumping up. I'll cut you guys some slack. I know it's early in the morning, second day of the conference, so I'll let that go. Okay, so the problem here and what we're trying to solve with our solution is that if everything goes absolutely smoothly, you're getting paid in around 60 days, which is crazy when you think about it. You're paying for materials, equipment, labor on the job site, and you're not seeing a dime until 60 days later. Also, you aren't always told if there are issues on your pay application right away. The GC isn't calling you up and telling you, hey, there was an error here, you're missing this document. You're waiting sometimes until you get to that 65 or 70 day point, calling them up to figure out what that tiny error or missing document is. And then your team also spends hours chasing down these payments, calling the general contractors. We have a couple customers that have one person at their company that's job is strictly just to chase down these payments. And we've also seen that friction around payments leads to really complicated relationships on the job site. I know firsthand, when I was working in New York, if a owner of a contractor came storming into our office, it was always related to cash. Also, as a general contractor, I'd be lying if I said that we didn't take into consideration if a subcontractor had good professional paperwork. So when we started a job, we had all of the people bidding on the project, right? And you look at the subs, and some of them are going to cause a lot of headaches for you because you're going to be working on their pay apps every month, revising all of their paperwork, bugging them to get that information in. So it's definitely something that you think about when you award out a job. So bunch of problems there. So Sightline, what are we? We are a tool built for the trades. We're not built for the GCs. We don't have the owners or developers on the platform. It's really a tool for you guys to manage your pay applications across all of your projects. So going into kind of like the current state of what your teams are doing now and what they can do with Sightline. If you start a new project, the first thing that you have to do is look at that contract, right? It used to be a handshake business, it's not anymore. You gotta really look at every single line. What do you need in order to get paid? What are the due dates? What types of documents are they gonna be looking at? So with Sightline, you kind of hand all of that off to us. We set up your project in the beginning so that everything can be on autopilot going forward. Do you need to include a conditional lien release with your pay application? What's the timeline for submitting those unconditional lien waivers, et cetera? And what forms do you need to submit? We have up to 100 general contractors forms in our database now, and it's continually growing. But if there is a new form that we haven't come across, we'll digitize it and put it in the platform for you. So every month, there's a ton of stress around the 15th to like the 30th when your team is putting together all of these pay applications. And one little mistake can hold up lots of money, and accounting teams and administrators do not want to get yelled at. So it's just an incredibly stress-inducing time. There's a bunch of whiteboards and Excel spreadsheets keeping track of the status of all of your pay applications. And sometimes things slip through the cracks. We had a customer recently who didn't bill for a project for 3 months just because she was so overwhelmed with all the other things that were going on that it just slipped through the cracks, and that can hurt your business with that cash flow. So with Sightline, you can log in and you can see all of your projects. Are we billing for this job this month? Did we submit this? You'll get a history of when you submitted everything. And you'll also receive reminders so that nothing slips through the cracks. Also, not only do you have to submit all of your paperwork in order to get paid, but you have to collect and submit all of the documents from your lower tier subcontractors and vendors, which can be a huge headache. So you have to collect those unconditional lien waivers when you pay your lower tier material suppliers and subcontractors. We had one customer who had a basket on her desk, and she would print out all of the requests that she sent out and put them in one basket. And once they were completed, she would move it over to another basket. So that was kind of her gauge of how good they were at collecting everything that month, what things needed to be collected still. So with Sightline, everything is sent out digitally to your vendors for them to sign. And you can see in real time, anyone can log in from anywhere and look at a project. Okay, this is the project we're working on. Here's the 5 vendors that are working for us. Do we have all the documents from them? So everything is updated in real time. We also help manage those compliance documents for yourself, so you can always get a reminder if your certificate of insurance is about to expire, so that doesn't cause any payment delay for your team as well. So instead of having Excel spreadsheets listing all of your projects and your COIs and the expiration date that your team has to manually check every month, we just send reminders so everything is in the system for you. This is a little bit more of a minor thing, but it was always a pain for me when you have to submit backup documentation. So say you're billing for stored materials on a project. In my experience, I would always have to follow up with the subcontractor and say, hey, I really want to pay you for this line item. I know you have this material in your warehouse, but you need XYZ in order to get paid. And they would send me a picture, they would text me a photo of the materials in the field. I'd get a scanned document sent directly to my email with the bill of sale and those kinds of things. And I was nice, and I would take the time to put together those documents in a professional format to submit to the client to prove the contractor's case that they needed to get paid for this material. Not everyone is that nice, and a lot of times it will just get rejected back. So with Sightline, you have a place that your team can all collaboratively work together to drag and drop those files. We'll slap a table of contents on it with your logo and include it in that pay application that you're submitting to the general contractor. And lastly, there's that assembly of putting together everything that you need to submit at the end of the month. Your teams probably have 1 million tabs open of Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, Microsoft Word, looking in their server, on the phone, communicating with the people in the field of what they want to bill for. So with Sightline, the field teams are all logging in. It's a really user-friendly tool. So we have people we're very proud to say we have a subcontractor in their 70s, a superintendent in the field that logs in, puts in the billing amounts on the platform. And then your back office team just needs to hit that generate pay app button in the top right. One of our customers calls it her magic button because she doesn't have to think about okay, what is the cover page the general contractor is looking for on this job? Do I need to include an additional document like an affidavit of subcontractor? What is the owner's address that I need to have on that unconditional lien waiver? Those kinds of things. So everything is just automatically auto-populated for your teams and submitted to the general contractor. So something that took 30 minutes to an hour previously for your back office teams is taking less than 5 minutes. And you know that everything is filled out correctly. So what are some of the benefits that our contractors that are using the product are seeing right now? The first one, and the obvious one that I was just mentioning, is time savings. So compiling, managing, and submitting pay apps is 6 times faster than it was without the tool. They're also saving time on internal collaboration. So instead of trying to catch that superintendent or foreman or project manager who's in the field and super busy on the phone to figure out what you need to bill for a project, everything is just handled in the platform for you. And then your teams are able to focus on revenue driving activities in the back office. And then your field teams are able to just focus on building and focus on running the project and moving it forward. And then another big thing that we've seen is billing accuracy. So we have some of the larger contractors that we work with. They have multiple people in their accounts receivable team who we discovered through this process were all filling out forms differently. All of the PMs had different billing forms that they were putting together. And any little error, like I mentioned before, can put your payment on hold. So we want to make sure that nothing is putting your payment on hold. Everything is filled out completely and correctly on a monthly basis, and there aren't going to be any issues. Sometimes we've all had those experiences too, where someone maybe adjusts a equation in an Excel cell, which can cause problems for accounting down the line. We have accountants who will spend hours and hours chasing that like 1 cent that they're trying to figure out what happened to over the duration of the project. So billing accuracy is a key one. And then this one is a little bit more exciting for me to hear from our customers, is just like the quality of life is improved. So everybody knows there's like a ton of stress at the end of the month, especially around like fire drills, for example, when the general contractor is going to come to your team and say, and I've done this before too, it all happens. They're going to say, hey, you can't bill for this line, and this line you have to cut down to 25%. You need to revise all of this paperwork and get it back to me in an hour, or you won't be included in this draw. So that's kind of like a drop everything. Maybe you're at home making dinner or picking up the kids. You're dropping everything to get this billing paperwork together. And with Sightline, it's just a couple clicks and we regenerate all of the documents with the updated math for you. So those kinds of things just like improve your quality of life and limit that stress. And you're not as worried all the time of like, is everything going to be completed absolutely perfectly? Because you know that it's all just handled in the system. It's harder than ever to retain talent right now, and even harder to find new talent. So you want to make sure that your back office teams are happy and comfortable with their roles. Also, a couple other stories we've been hearing lately. We had a contractor whose accounts receivable person put in their notice on Monday, and they were leaving on Friday. She handled the billing for all 80 projects that they billed for in a given month. And they somehow found a replacement that could start on Friday afternoon. So there was like a 3-hour overlap of this person that was leaving the company with this new person that was starting, who did not have any experience in construction billing. And it was amazing to me to see the training that happened when they had Sightline, because I jumped on the phone with them. And the person who was leaving the company just said, look, don't worry about it. You log into the platform, you go into each project. All of the field teams will have logged in and inputted what they want to bill for. And for each project, you just click a button and it will generate all the documents and you hit submit and it will go to who it's supposed to go to. So before, it would have been like, okay, for this general contractor, you need XYZ, you submit it to these 5 people. For this general contractor, you need these documents and you submit to accounts receivable at swinnerton.com or something like that. But with the platform, it's just like you log in and click a button. This also allowed one of our customers recently to go on vacation. She's actually on vacation this week. She hadn't been on vacation in 2 full years because she was like, the thought of dealing with teaching someone how to do all of this and make sure that we are getting paid for all of our projects is just so incredibly stressful. And I know that I'll just be getting a million calls and the vacation won't be worth it. So with Sightline, she's taking her first vacation in 2 years, which is a huge win for our team. And then the biggest thing for owners really is just the lower payment risk. You know, it impacts your business hugely even if your payment is delayed a couple of weeks. So we have one contractor who has seen that they're getting paid 3 weeks faster on average for all of their projects now that they're using Sightline. Another story recently is that we have a contractor who's billing for around 40 to 50 projects in a given month, which is super overwhelming. And again, they have that one back office person who's just scrambling to get this done every month. And she didn't have the time to really chase down the field people to get all of their information. So she was solely relying on them submitting, like, I need to bill for this job and this is what I'm billing for. So there were projects that were going a couple months maybe that weren't getting billed. And with Sightline, the PMs are logging in from the field. They're seeing, okay, these are the 4 active jobs that I'm working for right now. And they can see, okay, I need to bill for all of these. Like, there's work that we've done on all of these in this given month. So with Sightline, once they had all of their projects on the platform, they billed for the highest volume of work in that month that they ever have. So they had the highest volume of cash flow that month was starting with Sightline. So that was an exciting win for us too. Okay, so our tool is being used on a wide variety of projects across the United States and Canada. We have customers that range in size from 5 million in annual revenue to 300 million. So regardless of if your pay app is a couple $1,000s or a couple $1 million, this tool can really help your team. If you're a lower tier subcontractor, you're still required to submit a lot of paperwork in order to get paid. So whatever size or wherever you're working, we know the tool can help you guys. Even if you're working on these industrial projects like train yards or bus charging stations. So if you guys have any questions, all of my information is here on the page. I know everyone is constantly looking for ways to be more efficient in the field, but cash flow is really like the lifeblood of your business. So why not arm your team with the best tools to ensure that you guys are paid on time? We really, really value our partnership with Impact. And we are offering a 2-month free trial for any Impact members. So if anyone here is like, oh, this looks interesting and could be, oopsies, helpful, I don't know what happened, helpful to our team, just reach out to me and we can get you set up and you can try it out for 2 months and figure out if it's helpful. So I'll be around at coffee and at lunch. So if anyone has any questions, just come find me. But thank you. Finish a little early.